Hello and welcome to this informative session on the Project Assistant. The Project Assistant is the splash screen or the introductory screen that you'll typically see when you launch the structural engineering library, and it serves as sort of a stepping stone or a starting off point whenever you open structural engineering library and look to start working. The first thing that I want to do before we get into the specifics of the items on the Project Assistant screen is just mention the fact that at times when you work with structural engineering libraries, some of the options on this screen, like opening a project file, will actually cause the Project Assistant to dismiss or to become hidden. And then there are times where you'd like to recall the Project Assistant because it's convenient, it's handy to work from, and you like to use that to jump to your last project or to open a different one. And so I just want to point out that if you're ever in the situation where you open the structural engineering library and you can't find the Project Assistant, such as if I click the close button here, then I just want to mention that you can always recall the Project Assistant either by going to the File item in the menu bar and coming down to Display Project Assistant, or by clicking this little light bulb icon that says Display Project Assistant. Either one will bring it right back and you'll be ready to start working again. Okay, so with that, what I'd like to do is just work through each of the different options that are available here in the Project Assistant, touch lightly on all of them, and make sure that you understand what they're for. The first thing that I'll point out is that there are two overall tabs on the Project Assistant, and we'll start by focusing on the one that's called Project Files. And on this tab, the first item that we have is a button or a quick link to open the last project file, and it will indicate to you what that project file was, the last one that was accessed on your machine. So in this case, it would be ml3.ec6 for me, and if I clicked this button, it would open directly into that project file, and we would be looking at the project manager for that file and could then take off and open into a particular calculation. The next item down is just one notch more specific, and that is to open the last calculation, which implies the last calculation that was used in this particular project file. So here we can tell by the fact that it displays snow loads that the last thing that I was doing in Structural Engineering Library was working in the snow loads module of ML3. So if I knew that I wanted to go directly back into that snow load calculation module, I could simply click this button, and that's directly where I would go. Now, there are times where we don't want to go back to the last project file or the last calculation in the last project file. Sometimes we want to open one that we've worked in recently, and so that's what this section is for. Open Recent Project will allow us to view the last so many project files that have been worked on the current machine. There's a scroll bar over here, so we could even scroll down through the list and see quite a few more. And as a convenience and somewhat of a reminder, we also report the folder that the associated project file is stored in, just to help you associate it. Now, if I chose to open the project file such as WL5, then I could either single click on that particular file and then use this button here called Open Selected Project, or as this little note reminds us, we can also just double click on one in the list, and that too will open the selected project file. Now, there are times where we might have a project that has gone out and is no longer one that we'll rely on frequently, and so what we might want to do is remove a particular file from the list. So I could pick on one, for instance, and then use this button here called Remove Highlighted File from List, and just click that, and away it goes and draws the list up by one. So that's how we can customize that list. Moving down further, we have what we call Other File Options. The first button is called File Pick List. Now, when you work in the Structural Engineering Library on your machine, Structural Engineering Library keeps track of the project files that you've worked in, and it even remembers the folders where those individual project files are stored. So if you were to open this File Pick List, then you'd be able to drill directly into specific folders on your machine but only those folders that actually contain project files. And then from there, you could select the project file of interest and choose to open it. So that's just a different way of opening an existing project file. Very similar to that is the button called Open Project File. This one is basically your typical Windows open file type of dialog where you'd be able to navigate your machine, go to the desired folder location, select the particular file that you're interested in, and then choose an Open button and open directly into that project. This third button in the row is the Create New Project button. So this is obviously the way that you could create a brand new empty project file that you could then start to populate for your current project. We've already seen the Close button that closes this Project Assistant dialog, and we know that we can recall it from the File item in the main menu bar or from the light bulb icon. Similar or related is this little checkbox down here where you can actually choose whether or not you want this Project Assistant to show up when you start the program or not. Some people choose to not display it, and that's fine too. You can just remove the check from the checkbox, and then the next time you start Structural Engineering Library, you'll see a screen that looks just like this, and then you can go directly to the File item in the menu bar and so on. We'll talk our way through those menus in a separate video as well to get you familiarized with those, but I just want you to know that that is a workflow option if you so choose to turn off the Project Assistant entirely. Now that's a thorough look at the Project Files tab. I guess I should also mention a couple other small details while we're here. There is an indication of your allowed version, and there's an indication of your installed build, along with a little help item here that will explain exactly what those terms mean. That's convenient because there are times where you want to make sure that you're using the most current build, or if you're in touch with us, we may ask you to verify what build you're working with, and so you can refer to those values there. The other thing that I'd point out, a brand new addition to the Project Assistant, is the small video icon, and you'll start to see these popping up all over the Structural Engineering Library because we are implementing a lot of new informative videos for lots of the sections in the library, and so this is just a link to get to the very video that you're watching right now. Okay, so that is a thorough look at the Project Files tab. Now I'd just like to point out that there is another option on the Project Assistant called the QuickCalc tab. Now, in normal operation, in order to use the calculation modules in Structural Engineering Library, you actually have to create a project file first and then populate it with the calculation module or modules that you want to use, and then and only then can you start to look at results. The QuickCalc tab is actually a convenience that allows you to perform a very quick calculation, as the name suggests, without having to create a project file first. However, we put it in bold text to make certain that it's very clear that you will not be given the option to save a QuickCalc. So if you're absolutely sure that you just want to scope something out very quickly, and you know exactly where you want to go and exactly what you want, and you intend to print a hard copy, and you know that that's going to work, then you can certainly feel free to come in, select the QuickCalc tab from the Project Assistant, and move into the individual calculation module that you want and perform that calculation. However, just please do keep it in mind that there is no way to save anything that's been created when you enter into this QuickCalc mode, and also, as this note suggests, you won't have access to perform any of the wind loading calculations nor the snow loading or seismic loading calculations via the QuickCalc mode of operation. So with that, just be advised of its limitations as well as its conveniences. Okay, so to restore our view, I'm just going to click back to the Project Files tab, and with that we'll wrap this video up, and If you're interested in further topics having to do with the general layout of the screen, look for some other videos where we'll discuss the menu bars and the toolbars. Thanks very much. Hope it's been helpful.